What was the grandfather clause in voting rights? Imagine living in a time when voting was not always easy, especially for Black Americans. There was a sneaky way some states kept Black people from voting while still letting many white citizens vote. That trick was called the grandfather clause. It was a law used mostly between 1895 and 1910 by Southern states. The clause said if your grandfather could vote before a certain date, you could skip new voting rules. These rules included literacy tests, poll taxes, and property requirements. Since most Black Americans had been enslaved and were not allowed to vote before the Civil War, their grandfathers could not vote before that date. So, Black voters were blocked from voting, but many poor white voters still qualified because their grandfathers had voted before the Civil War. This was a way to keep Black Americans from having a say in elections. The law was part of a bigger effort to keep white supremacy in control after Reconstruction. It was designed to stop Black Americans from exercising their voting rights, even though the 15th Amendment in 1870 said no, one could be denied the vote because of race. The Supreme Court declared the grandfather clause unconstitutional in 1915 because it went against the 15th Amendment. But it was not until the Civil Rights Movement and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that laws like this were finally banned. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 made it illegal to use literacy tests or poll taxes to block voters. It also gave the federal government the power to oversee elections in certain areas to protect Black Americans' voting rights. The grandfather clause is a reminder of how laws were used to suppress Black voices for many years. It shows how Black Americans fought against unfair rules to gain full citizenship and voting rights. The Civil Rights Movement and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 helped to remove these barriers and ensure everyone could vote equally.